Oh my God. Well, let me go ahead and get started. I can jump on in.
Hi, my name is Robbie Miles, and on behalf of the Black Theater Group and NBAF, we'd like to welcome you all to this week's edition of the AOC Artist Check-In. This week's theme is Our Stories, and we have the honor of interviewing the 2020 Atlanta Regional August Wilson Monologue Competition winners, Julia Shanks and Taylor Jackson. The August Wilson Monologue Competition gives students the opportunity to learn about the great works of August Wilson. Before we interview last year's winners, take a look at this video where you can learn more about the August Wilson Monologue Competition provided by Kenny Leon's True Colors Theater.
I'm looking for the day when every child in America can have a little piece of theater in their daily educational lives.
For Tony Award-winning Broadway director Kenny Leon, that day is now, and both Kenny and the education team at True Colors Theater Company are ready and willing to meet the needs of these talented students who seek to learn more about their craft and our world. We're teaching students to know that boldness is strength, laughter is necessary, abundance is rewarding, and respect is earned. Teaching them to observe.
It was a great experience to just be at the finals, to see the people and see other performers who got the opportunity to be on stage and show their talents, their hearts out.
Teaching to reflect.
I learned how to take risks. I learned how to become comfortable with my physicality and my character and the people around me, and even with my stage and my area that I was in.
Teaching the craft.
I would say to trust every ounce of what you do and stay fully committed to any thoughts that you have about your work, because it's your work at the end of the day. I feel like as long as you put your heart and soul into it and you trust yourself and you're committed to whatever you do, all you can do is receive feedback and grow from whatever you start.
Most definitely, and I would like to add to that it's just as much an independent art form as it is a dependent and a coercive art form. You can get these things from others, but you can also know for yourself what is honest and what's truthful and how to feel good about something and how to do research. There's so much, there is 99% what you do on your own, and then the 1% is the juice you get from others. But you have to be self-motivated in this art form, because there are going to be times when you're by yourself.
Teaching commitment.
At the beginning, I was really apprehensive. I didn't know whether I was going to do it, and it was kind of a last-minute thing, but ultimately it's worth it, because you learn so much and you get an idea of what's out there, like when I go into this field, who am I competing against?
Teaching confidence.
At first, it was, well, for one, when I would do my monologue, I would, at first I changed the words out, but once you really get to know your character and you realize that you really do need to keep the truth to it, sometimes when the bad words come out, you don't really hear it and you don't notice it once you become the actual character, because you stay true to it, if that makes any sense. And for me, performing it, and that's exactly what happened. When I performed my monologue, that's exactly what happened. I performed it, I didn't even notice the words came out, and I just felt great afterwards.
At True Colors Theater Company, we speak from the heart, and we're developing character, both on and off the stage.
All right, thank you, Robbie, and big thank you, a special thank you to True Colors Theater Company, Mr. Kenny Leon, Miss Nikki Toombs, Director of Education, and Mr. Jamil Jude, Artistic Director at Kenny Leon's True Colors Theater Company. They continuously pour into our communities and continue to tell our stories with the likes of August Wilson and other Black playwrights. So let's jump right into our conversation today, talking about our stories. As you can see, I'm always excited to chat with and highlight new artists every week. This week, we're talking to the Atlanta regional winners of the August Wilson Monologue Competition from 2020. 2020 was a special year. We know that, right? The pandemic, everything that happened in our country. But these young people mustered up enough, oomph. I like that word, oomph. They mustered up enough oomph and courage to come on here onto this theatrical stage and actually win the August Wilson Monologue Competition for 2020. Our first guest is Miss Taylor Jackson. She hails out of Alabama, but like I said, she came over to Atlanta and won that Atlanta regional competition. So we're going to bring her to the stream and say hello to Miss Taylor Jackson.
Hello.
Hello. How are you, Will? Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. We, like I said before in the brief opening, when we started doing these conversations, we talked about highlighting our stories. And when I looked around me to see young artists that are doing it big, I mean, Taylor, my God, you're one of them. You're making a splash in Alabama. You came over here last year in 2020 and made a splash in the August Wilson Monologue Competition. So how have you been doing with everything that's happening in our country? Like, what's going on with you?
Right. Well, first I want to say thank you so much. That means a lot. But honestly, I'm doing pretty good for the most part. I'm a senior this year. So senioritis plus a pandemic, it does not go together well. So there are some moments where I'm unmotivated and things like that. But it's been pretty good. It's been a journey, a growing journey, of course. So overall, it's been good.
Okay. Well, awesome. Now tell everybody a little bit more about yourself. You said you're a senior, right, at the Alabama School of Fine Arts. Yeah.
Yes.
Getting ready to graduate this year. Now you also have been competing in the August Wilson Monologue Competition with Kenny Leon's True Colors Theater for the last couple of years, right? You've been in that competition.
Yes, I started. I think it was my 10th grade year. I first started with Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. The one where she's talking about, you can't get me a Cocoa bottle. Looking back on that was a hot mess. But yeah, it's been a growing opportunity, and I'm glad that we have apprentices like you all that leads us, stays by our side, and it's like a familial event, Especially Miss Toombs. I know, like, I'm a part of a competition right now. It's very quick to the pace. But something that I really appreciated with True Colors was the fact that Miss Toombs will call you personally. And of course, she'll tell you about like what's going on professionally, things she expects. But something that I value is that it wasn't just a professional call. It was a call to check on you. For example, like I was telling Miss Toombs about things I was going through when it comes to college and kind of, just moments I've been having. And she's always been open to giving a word of advice, word of wisdom. Miss Toombs will even pray with you over the phone.
Come on.
So I think it's just, I really want to stop calling it the August Wilson competition. It needs to be the August Wilson family reunion because this is a family. And
wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's awesome. I mean, now, since you've been a part of the competition from your sophomore year till now, and you're one of the regional winners. Come on, second place. Let's nothing look down at, ma'am, because we, as you said, as an apprentice working with True Colors Theater Company to produce last year's competition, we saw hundreds upon thousands of students come through there.
Right.
So for you to be number 2 out of all of those students, my hat's off to you because I saw you grow from the preliminary to the final to the competition. And it was amazing. So how did it change for you from being in person through the preliminaries to being virtual and online for the final, for the national competition?
Oh, I'm going to be honest. That was a really hard transition because I'm one of those artists, and I feel like a lot of people can relate to this, but I kind of feed off the audience.
Yeah.
And so like I need that energy. I need to feel that connection. And so not having that, I had some self-doubt. I was like, oh God, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do this how I did it before.
Right.
But I feel like even though it was virtual, everyone made it a point to make each competitor feel special. Like having that workshop with Mr. Leon. We even talked to a set designer that worked with Mr. Leon. Like it was in the workshops that we had. I had a workshop with Andy Chapman, not Kathy. I'm so sorry, Andy Chapman. And that was phenomenal. It was an all-girls workshop. We were talking about finding our voice, finding our character's voice. And it was amazing. And I honestly feel like even though we didn't get, the perks of going to New York City, I do feel like we weren't as pushed for time in a way. And so we were able to have those intimate moments with our masterclass professors and things like that. So even though initially I was like, dang, I'm not going to New York, it was a really great, I'm being honest.
Yeah.
I was sad, but it was a really great opportunity. And Mr. Leon was so down to earth. The way it wasn't like talking to the Broadway director. It was like, I'm Kenny Leon. We like August Wilson, so let's talk about it. It was great. It was a great experience.
Wow. That's awesome. Because see, that's something I was worried about too. That transition, all of a sudden having to be like, wow, we saw y'all every week, and then now it's going virtual and doing online on a national level. But it turned out beautifully. Like I heard nothing but great comments from not just the participants, from everybody involved at True Colors. Like it seemed like it was amazing. So thanks for going through this. Now, but you have a lot of stuff. Like you've done a lot of not just August Wilson stuff. I mean, let me see. On your resume here, we got the Royale, you got Radio Golf, the Crucible. Like, why do you think it's important for you as a young artist to kind of dive in and get some of these meaty stories and help tell some of these stories that way?
Well, I feel like, especially with the racial tension there is in the world today, I kind of think as a Black girl, it is my role, like as a person, to take on these meaty roles, to continue to be honest and share these stories, right? And so something that I really appreciate about August Wilson was that this was the first time that I read a play and I didn't feel like I had to act. I didn't feel like I had to shove myself into the piece. And so I definitely think having that in the back of my mind, and also knowing like I'm a Black girl, I'm talented, and this is something that I want to do. Like it's important for me to go out of my comfort zone, because sometimes the roles are intimidating, especially now, like when you see these amazing actors and actresses also take on these roles. It's almost like, oh my God, well, I can't, like, this is not my space to do this. But I think as a Black artist, it is important for me to be a role model for prospective artists to take on these super heavy roles and just bring life to them and bring honesty to them. And so I definitely feel like in comparison to most of the plays I've done, August Wilson, it's been really easy to do that with August Wilson.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, it's awesome, Taylor, because you not only do that on the stage. I feel like y'all have, at the Alabama School of Fine Arts, you have so many opportunities to get involved in your community and your city. Like right now, you're part of the Youth Action Council.
I am.
You're a global youth ambassador. So tell us more about how you continue to push the narrative for African American artists and to tell our stories outside of the stage, like outside of your artistry.
Definitely. I think just the key thing is being willing to learn, because most of these organizations I'm a part of is all about learning and being in partnership with your community. So definitely just being willing to learn, like I said, and also, I'm sorry, I just went completely blank.
Learning is a good. You probably have to say it again. So you giving a word and you don't even know it. You have to say learn twice so people can and they actually hear it. You have to be willing to learn.
Yeah.
Say it again. Look.
But yeah, it's just being like third time being willing to learn, and also knowing that like I'm not, as an actress, as an artist, we're leaders because we are telling the raw stories of everyday life that sometimes people aren't willing to face. And so with that is a leadership ability that needs to be cultivated. And so I feel like I feel like with these organizations I'm joining, I'm part of, the people I'm meeting, it's allowing me to expand my mind, learn different things, learn different cultures. Like for example, with the Global Youth Ambassador, a thing I was a part of, we were learning about Africa and apartheid, things like that. And so taking that, and this is what I'm saying about learning. It is so important because I'm growing as an artist and a person. I'm learning that I don't need to separate my artistry from myself. Like I can take what I'm learning, I can take how I'm feeling and putting all that into the piece, and it still reading just as well. And so I just think like as I grow, as I learn, as I meet different people, taking all this knowledge from organizations, I can add that into my art and make it even more relatable, even more real, you know? And so I look at everything like that. Like, what am I learning? How can I add this into my art? Like, what stories can I tell where many different cultures and different people can feel it? And so, yeah.
That's good. And that's because everybody can't mesh all of that together. You know, a lot of people miss those opportunities to put everything they learned along the way into their artistry. So I love that you figured it out at such a young age, because you're going to be like, look, we're going to look out for you, okay, after you graduate. You're already ready with how to get this done, you know what I'm saying, on a professional level. And I love that you're open to all of your life experiences to pour them into your work. That's really, really a beautiful thing. But going right along with that, to continue the conversation, we talked a lot about being inspired by August Wilson and his pieces because of you are an award-winning actress with the August Wilson Monologue competition. But are there any other Black storytellers that inspire you to keep doing what you're doing?
Definitely. Dominique Maruso. I'm reading her play Pipeline. And like I said, you know, as an artist, you have to be a sponge, willing to learn. And so I'm currently working on the monologue where I'm playing Naya, which is the mother. And, you know, just like, I'm not a mother, definitely don't plan to be one soon. But just like going through that thing where you're talking to your son and it's like, I need you to hear me. I love you so much and I don't want to see you broken in this way. Like, and even though I love that story, it's just real. And I think that's a common theme in all African American plays. There is, it's a place for you. You read it and you feel at home. You read it and you're like, oh my God, my grandma says this saying all the time. Like it is, I don't know. It's home. And so that inspires me to know that I don't have to exaggerate or remove any part of myself or any part of my story because there's a place for me, you know? And so that's why I think many, and I know I'm jumping from different subjects and everything, but that's one of the reasons why I think children should do, and teenagers should continue to do the August Wilson Monologue competition because you have a place. And on top of that, there's community because you're competing alongside, and I say alongside, not against, because the people that me and Julius, he's also, you know, Julius won, but the people that, oh no, I didn't mean it like that.
Hey, it's okay. Come on, bring the competition in. You know, yeah, he won.
But the people that we competed alongside, we still have connections with, we still check up on. And so you're building community by coming together with something that you love. And so definitely Dominique Maruso is inspiring me, but I'm almost positive it doesn't matter what Black artist, playwright I reach out and learn a little bit about, I feel like it represents me. So I'll find some type of inspiration behind that.
Yeah. And that's good too, Taylor, because it's empowering to know that this was kind of written by when a story is written by a Black playwright, it's comforting to know that it's written by someone who understands me and understands us as people and as an artist. You can kind of tell those pieces that were written by someone else for us, because it's very it's on the surface. There's nothing too heavy. The lingo is kind of off. The language is off. But that's another thing that I love about August Wilson and other African American playwrights that I'm discovering, because the language is so familiar. The characters are so familiar to me that it's very easy to hop in and do it justice when it's something that you can relate to like that.
Right.
Yeah. So I think that's important. And you touched on something about, not having kids, because you got a lot that you want to do.
Right.
Nothing against young mothers, but you have a lot that you want to do, that you want to accomplish. Now, that being said, when you do have children, what stories do you feel like are going to be important for you to pass down to them? Like some of the things that you're learning now and you're soaking up now, what stories are important for you, or stories that have been passed down in your family that you want to continue to do that?
I definitely think in every single play there's heart, and they touch on like key morals. It's kind of like reading the Bible. Like you read the story, but there's always like key things you have to do, right? And so I feel like, in a sense, I'm looking at August Wilson and different other playwrights and plays just like that, like the key morals of family, forgiveness, things like that. So those are definitely things that have been taught to me, and also something that I definitely want to pass down.
Right. Yeah. And that's something growing up in church. Like I'm gonna talk, when we talk to Julius, church is gonna come up because he's a young minister.
Definitely, yes.
Look, that brother's on fire. He's on fire for God. I love it. You have a hold of it. But you mentioned it too. You brought it up too, that I think is important, because we start to see some of those stories passed down to us through our church, and through our congregations, and through different church ministries, whether it be praise dance or theater, or whether we singing, lyrical. Right. We start to see those things come to life right before our eyes in the church growing up. And then I didn't see how that kind of connected until I got older onto the stage. Like some of those same parables that I heard in the Bible, like the meat of them was in this play that I was right. So you're like, wait a minute, they talk about God in this. So yeah, it's I love seeing that come full circle. But like I said earlier, everything y'all are doing is spot on, and it just inspires us as apprentices, as people working with these theaters, professional theaters in Atlanta. It inspired me to go, wait a minute, these young high school students are not letting anything get in their way, anything get them from going towards their goal of what they want to do. So I should have no excuse at all.
I mean, everyone does things at their own time.
True.
You can't. And that's something that I'm kind of going through right now, like trying not to compare myself to other people. So, for example, it may seem like I'm doing a lot, but there are so many things that I'm like, dang, Taylor, you need to be doing this, you need to be doing that. And I think that's important to shine like a light on, because in the world we live in today, it's like, oh my God, they're doing this, I need to be doing this, and that, And it's like we're on our own timeline. And yes, that is easier said than done. But I think it's important to constantly remind yourself, like, for example, I'm disappointed in myself that I'm not posting myself doing more monologues. I think that's important. I think that's something that I should be doing, but I'm letting fear get in my way, even though since I'm aware of that, I need to cut that out. But I'm just saying, like, I think it's important, like, just give yourself time.
Yeah, that's true. Now that you said it, though, you said it on a national broadcast, okay? So everybody watching tonight is going to hear it and say, wait a minute, we're going to be looking for those monologues.
Where's the monologue?
So come on. Now, we'll start sending you some stuff. Hey, Taylor,
I'm so weak. No.
Go ahead and do this monologue. But I mean, that being said, as we wrap up, a part of this, doing these artist check-ins too, is to build a community of artists of color and Black artists so we can support each other. So what do you have going on right now that you have coming up down the pipeline, where as a community we can get behind you and support you as an artist?
Thank y'all. Well, right now I'm just trying to get college straight. I'm applying to scholarships. I'm still auditioning. Prayer always helps. And I feel like that's the only thing I would ask anybody to do that's rooting for me. Just pray for me.
Right.
You know, that's all I need.
Do we have any big announcements, like any exclusive we can give? Like, do you know where you're going yet?
No,
Can-
I don't know where I'm
No,
going.
okay, it's okay. I'm just trying to look. I'm a true journalist. I was fishing for an exclusive here
No,
on
it's
AOC
okay.
Artist
It's
Check
okay.
In. That's all.
I'll text you first when I find out.
Okay, beautiful. You'll
Before
text me
my
whatever broadcast we're doing. We're gonna pop your face up. And
Taylor's going here.
Taylor's going to this school. That's what we'll do. That's what we'll do. You definitely want to stay
And that's
connected.
what's most stressful about this whole thing, just not knowing where you're gonna end up. But still keeping faith that you're gonna end up where you need to be. But like I said, that's easier said than done.
Right. It's said and done, but let me tell you something. Your work, your character already is going before you. Your reputation is definitely going to speak for you because you've done some amazing things. You continue to do amazing things and inspire me and all the other apprentices that work with you and people that cross your path. So thank you for doing that. Let the people know, Taylor, where they can find you online to support you. How can we look you up and find out what's going on?
You can, okay, for sure. You can follow me on Instagram at Taylor Jackson. It's TaylorJacksxn. The O is an X.
XN, right.
Definitely.
So go ahead and follow and support on Instagram. Follow Taylor Jackson, and so you can get you may not have the information as early as I get it, but you might get information on where she's going to college. Around the same time, where she's going, next steps, how we can support her as a community. Taylor, like I said again, thank you so much for joining us. Anything else that you want to mention that you didn't touch on when it comes to our stories and the importance of telling our stories and getting them out there?
I just want to say, all the young kids out there, join the August Wilson monologue competition. It's an experience, okay? It's amazing. And also just continue to be fearless, continue to speak up for yourself and your kind. And yeah, just everyone be safe.
Come on. That's awesome.
And thank you so much for giving me this opportunity.
Absolutely. Thank you for making it easy. Thank you for doing all the amazing things you're doing and propelling our artistry and getting our stories out there. We love you. We will definitely stay in touch and keep you lifted in prayer, okay? Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Bye.
All right. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Same to you.
Bye. Wow. What a great check-in with our first guest, Miss Taylor Jackson from the Alabama School of Fine Arts. Y'all make sure you keep on the lookout for where she's going this year, what she's doing with her college education, and to continue her artistry. Now, coming up, before we introduce our next guest, Mr. Julius Shanks, we want to go ahead and show you a little video, a little touch of everything that this brother's doing in his community to tell our stories and get our stories out there. So take a look at this, and we'll be right back with Mr. Julius Shanks.
Lord, we're able to lift up hundreds of names that have been killed through police brutality, lift up hundreds of names that have been brought to you over this time. We lift up families that are hurting right now. We lift up loved ones, friends, all those who know someone, Father God. We lift up all of our policemen right now, all of our law enforcement, all of our essential workers in this time, that we can just look to you for a light that we don't have on our own. We look to you for answers that we can't come up to on our own, but we ask you to just bring some joy, some peace, some happiness, something that only you can do, that no one else can do, that no person in government can give us answers to, but only you can give us the answers to. We ask right now that we have a peaceful time lifting up the names. We have a peaceful time joining one another, that we can set aside our differences, our difference of opinions, our difference of thoughts, and that we can look to you for all the answers. So I ask this in your son Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Wow. Now we're back. We just said goodbye to Miss Taylor Jackson, and you just saw our next guest, the first place winner of the 2020 August Wilson Monologue Competition Regional Finals right here in Atlanta, Georgia, Mr. Julius Shanks. Now, we are talking about our stories in this segment, keeping a roll on right with our theme tonight, talking about our stories. This young man is not just speaking up on the stage. He's not just an amazing award-winning actor and a playwright, but this young man, as you just saw, was praying at City Hall in Birmingham at a rally at a march for George Floyd last year in 2020. So he's not just speaking up and raising his voice on the stage. Ladies and gentlemen, this young man, Mr. Julius Shanks, is a minister in his community and, like I said before, an award-winning artist. So let's go ahead and welcome him to continue our conversation on our stories. Julius, go ahead and get in here and say hello to the people, sir.
Hey, what's up?
Look, thank you for being with us tonight, man. You're so inspiring. We're going to go ahead and get into a little bit about what you've been going through in 2020. But I just want to first jump off by saying, how are you?
I'm great. I'm great. Living life, doing school, and keeping pushing. That's all we can do.
Come on, that's all we can do. Keep it pushing. But man, thank you for letting us show that clip of you praying at City Hall in Birmingham at, I think it was a rally for George Floyd last year, 2020, doing, the injustices that we've seen in this country on top of a pandemic. How has it been for you getting through last year?
Well, it's been crazy. That clip that you saw right there, shout out to Women in Training with two teenage girls, 13 years old, from Montgomery, Alabama. We were in Montgomery right there on the steps, and they put it together. They asked me, do you know anyone who does poetry? And, most people just know me as either an actor or a minister. But I'm like, yeah, I write poetry too. I write too. So I got that opportunity, and it just pushed me forward into using my voice in another light that I've never done before.
Wow.
And it showed me that the world is lacking a lot more than just entertainment right now. We're hurting in a lot of areas, and man, I've just been able to use my voice in many ways, and that right there started me off around that. I mean, that was right, the heart of when everything was going on.
Mm-hmm. Wow. I mean, and like you said, and you said that was Montgomery, right? Montgomery, Alabama, and not Birmingham. Wow. So going from Birmingham, and you're in school at the Birmingham School of Fine Arts, right? Mm-hmm. So you're traveling around your state from Birmingham to Montgomery. You won this acting competition in Atlanta with Kenny Leon's True Colors Theater Company. So tell people a little bit more about that. Like you said, people know you in the community because you wear many hats at such a young age, which we also admire. So let's start off by talking a little bit about the stories you tell on the stage and what you've been able to do with the August Wilson monologue competition.
August Wilson is an amazing, amazing opportunity that honestly, everyone, Black, white, Asian, everyone should get an opportunity to showcase and witness the work of this amazing human. I did not know a thing about August Wilson until coming to the Alabama School of Fine Arts in Birmingham. Being young in Montgomery, Alabama, trying to study theater, we hear about Shakespeare, we hear about Tyler Perry, but where are August Wilsons? Where are George C. Wolfes? Where are our real playwrights and actors who are pushing the craft? And so when I got a hold of August Wilson's work, I fell in love. I've read probably out of the century cycle, I think I'm at 5 plays myself that I've read already. And so just looking at his work and looking at how he can showcase my family without even knowing my family, you know what I mean? Like he puts it right there on paper. And so, man, I love it. And anything I can do to uplift and continue speaking, continue showing people the work of his, I'm all for it, and I'll always do it.
Wow. That's amazing. I mean, and I think we talked a little bit about this with Taylor a few moments ago, but when you're introduced to certain things that feel familiar, like, you don't have to, you do have to dive into it as an artist and take it on and take on the character, but it's something that you can easily adjust to because you know those characters.
Yeah,
you know someone in your family that identifies with those characters, right? So I think that's important about getting those stories out there. So was it hard for y'all to transition from being in a preliminary competition and being in person to having like a virtual event for the finals? Was that a hard transition?
Super hard. It was so abrupt. Everything stopped in a matter of days, and as you know, no one knew what was happening next. We were like, okay, postpone. We could come back out of this in a week, in a month, and now a year's about to pass. And so it being so abrupt, there was no warning for us to learn how to switch and how to have a camera presence instead of a stage presence and still getting across the same points we were. It was a big adjustment. Our teachers are great at the Alabama School of Fine Arts to where they were ready at any moment to say, all right, this is what you need to do. Whether we have to wake up at 7 a.m. on Saturday to get ready, they're like, we're going to make sure you're ready. And so we had to take the extra time to put into work. really that's all it is. If you want it bad enough, you're gonna have to do it. And so we had to let go of the excuses, let go of the hurt of, oh, I can't fly to New York, I can't do this. And like we still want to show up and show out. So we had to show up and show out. But it was definitely fun. An adjustment, yes, but we still met some really cool people. We still, you know, made some great connections. One of my friends, shout out to Juan, he lives in Pittsburgh. He was in the Pittsburgh finals, and we connected over Zoom, and that's been my bro since then. So it was definitely still a great experience.
Wow, that's awesome. And how many years did you do the competition with True Colors Theater?
Okay, so before 10th grade, 11th grade, so this will make my 3rd year. Yeah, this will make my 3rd year. I didn't get the all 4 years. I was I didn't know about it in 9th grade, but when I did find out about it, I continued it.
You've been on it. You've been there ever since. Wow, man! But you are so talented. Like, I'm also, like I said earlier, about admire, and I want you to really hear that, because sometimes, you know, young people, myself included, when someone that you feel like is close to you in age, like, you know, a little bit older than you, a peer that you might look up to and say, oh, well, I admire you, you can't throw that away. But man, the way, like I said earlier, that you transcend and raise your voice from the stage to in real life, in your community, at your school even, tell me and tell the people a little bit more about Next. Like, so I'm saying this is a Bible study, right?
Wow, yes, you did. I mean, y'all are on it.
Listen, I do my homework now. We dive in here. Yes. But I also, you know, your videos motivate me. I'm a youth minister in my church here at New Covenant Church of Atlanta. So I'm drawn to that type of energy, and you give off that energy. It's not the Bible thumping of the old days. It's let me tell you a good word.
Yes.
Let me pass along some wisdom to you. And you have that already. You tapped into it. So tell them more about Next, of what that is.
Thank you. So Ask for Next is a small group or a Bible study that was started in my 9th grade year. A great friend of mine, Shelby Tidwell. I'm giving so many shout outs today. Just so many people have helped me and brought me through. A little bit of my story. I'm originally from Montgomery, Alabama. Went to Baldwin Arts and Academic Magnet School, but when I found a love for theater, people said, Julius, there's a school in Birmingham that would be great for you. You should check it out. I get to the school in Birmingham. I put in all the work, get there, and I get there and I hate it. I want to leave. I'm sad. I miss my mama. She's back in Montgomery. All I got is my grandmama up here with me, my grandparents, and, you know, the food's good at the house, but the lunch food's not so good. Like, I'm ready to go.
Right.
And Shelby sees me on the back of the bus one day as we're going on a volunteer trip, and she says, you know, are you a Christian? I say, yeah, I guess I am. And she was like, we have a Bible study upstairs, and I think, you know, you would like it. I go, I love it. Next thing I know, she invites me to teach. Next thing I know, I'm leading it. She graduates and says, Julius, you got to continue it. And so since then, we've grown from 5 people in a room to 25 and upwards, even reaching 50 people in a room. In a school that's predominantly just all different backgrounds and walks of life, that no matter where you come from, we can all accept our differences and come together. And whether you're curious, whether you want to learn more, or whether you're on your own path, we come together and we dive in deep together. And that's the meaning of Ask for Next, helping you take your next steps in Christ, but helping you take your next steps in finding yourself. And so I just believe that no matter what your art is, no matter what your talent is, there's a place for you in this world. And when I know what it feels like to be alone and not have anyone, and I never want anyone else to go through that feeling.
Wow, man. How have you seen, like, where your training on the stage and in your artistry has kind of helped prepare you for this, you know, this next step, this next season that you're walking into with your ministry work? Have you seen some stories kind of cross-reference in both sectors?
Definitely. No one likes a boring person. So let's start. And so having this theater training, having this theater background, I can get up in front of people and speak with ease. And having that in my back pocket, being able to improv on the fly, you know, if something goes out when the lights are on me or the microphone's not working, I know what's next. So I believe everyone, whether you want to do film or you actually want to be on the stage, whether you want to be a politician, everyone needs theater training, because theater gets you ready for life. You know, theater takes you into a different position to where you have the communication skills, you have the stage presence, you have the voice to be able to go out and do whatever it is you want to do.
Yeah. Wow. It absolutely does. It looks like, hold on, Julius, you might have frozen up a little bit. It always want to freeze up right when it's getting good. You're talking about theater training. Go ahead and back up a little bit and tell us more about that.
I believe that theater training isn't just a skill that you should have if you want to do theater, but if you want to do film, you want to be a politician, whatever it is that you want to do, everyone should have a little theater training in their life, because theater gets you ready for life. Whether it's whatever it is, you're getting speaking, you're getting stage presence, you're getting voice, all of these movement, and you're being able to stand up in front of people and do whatever it is you want to do. So everyone needs a little theater training.
Come on. I love that. See, that could be a part of your next step. I don't want to speak it into your life yet. You're going to take it to the Lord and surrender and pray about it. But that theater training, taking our training into other sectors, like to use it in the corporate sector, to use it in different sectors, because it really helps to be, like you said, to be able to adjust on the fly. That's straight theater. That's straight improv. Like to be able to go ahead and roll with it. I'm going to choose to be in character. I'm going to adopt another character that's not going to overreact in this moment. I'm gonna keep moving with the punches. But I love that you're saying that everybody needs it. It's not something that just you adapted, that you're saying, hey, this is open to everybody. We can all use theater as a part of our life to kind of, up our game of what we're doing. But are there any other, you talked earlier about August Wilson, right? And being inspired by the Century Cycle plays. Are there any other Black playwrights and storytellers that kind of inspire you to tell these stories that you're telling?
Definitely. I'm a big fan of George C. Wolfe, who is the latest project we might know him from. Is he directed Ma Rainey's Black Bottom on Netflix, which is actually where my monologue comes from for the August Wilson monologue competition. And Jelly's Last Jam and this different things. When you look at someone like me, you think, he's gonna say Denzel, he's gonna say Spike Lee, but I like to dive in and really. There's so many different, of course, Denzel, Spike Lee, great influences on my life, but there's so many different genres I study, so many different people that I look up to, and it's like taking a little bit from each person has made me the artist that I'm becoming.
Wow. Yeah. I think that's important too, because I can never kind of get down to one artist or one piece of inspiration or one bit of inspiration. You kind of pull from different things, and we're kind of attracted to those stories that we can identify with, right? As we said earlier. So I think that's important for us to keep that out there, because a lot of people listen to this broadcast every week. We kind of go back and forth. We have leaders of the Black organization next week. We have leaders of Chop Art with some young people kind of listening and kind of honing in on. So moving right along in that vein. Now you're far away from having children of your own, but because you have so many things that you have to accomplish and God has placed on your life to accomplish. But what stories do you hope to pass down to them? Like things that you're learning now, things that you're picking up on now, whether it be at Birmingham School of Fine Arts or just in your artistry in these competitions. What stories are you going to take with you to pass down to them?
Yes, without giving away some of my pilots and plots that I'm
okay. Keep those on the hush.
But I definitely life experiences have shaped just the way I view things now, and so I believe that we shouldn't take for granted the youth, like you were just saying. Like we have a certain voice and a certain dynamic that needs to be heard. And so I want to be able to amplify and uplift the youth in a positive light. I want to take this structure of how we view society through TV and film and music, and I want to remix it. I want to make it and put it on the screen and put it in your car while you're driving, and entertainment in general to able to be uplifting. And that no matter what age you are, no matter what demographic you are, no matter where you are in life, you're going to be able to take it and relate to it and learn from it. And so those are the type of stories, those are the type of lessons that I want to display to everyone around me.
Wow. Yeah. Because, you already got the concept that our words have power. Yeah. So the more we hear those encouraging words, heart, mouth, right? The more you get it in there, the more it's going to come out. Yeah. So I love that, man. I love that. So tell us, let the community know. Here at AOC Artist Check-In, these are not just virtual conversations where we want to shine a light on you, but we also want to support you. So what do you have coming down the pipeline, whether it be over in Alabama, anything coming up here in Atlanta for this leg of the monologue competition? What do you have coming up where we can support you as a community?
Right now, my focus and my energy is pouring into the community around me and still trying to take care of myself, you know, applying to colleges. I've been accepted to, I've been accepted to a few. My top choice right now that I'm putting my energy and resources into getting scholarships for is Howard University.
All right, come on, Howard.
You know,
so wait. Is this a AOC Artist Check-In exclusive right here?
This is an exclusive.
Okay, come on. So I'm gonna drop this part as just the exclusive. There we go.
Not committed yet. You know, Morehouse is looking. I'm still waiting to hear back. So I'm not committed. Wow. You know, but right now my focus is to be able to do everything I can do, you know, put myself in a position to get to an HBCU showcase and turn that campus out to make it, you know, what I know I'm capable of doing, and then bringing that back to whether it's Birmingham, whether it's Montgomery, or whether it's Atlanta, and changing everything around me.
Come on. Well, I mean, come on, you definitely have it in you. You're speaking it. So that's the first important step, right? You're speaking it, and that plan is there. So I think you said a lot about how we can support you. So y'all heard it. Scholarships, Howard, come on, send them his way. Like we're ready. So as we're winding down, let everybody know how they can find you, to follow you on social media and support you, like I said before.
Yes, definitely follow me on Instagram at the Julius and then Hanks. You know, I cut the S out, but it's Julius and then Hanks. You know, put it together so it's not long. And find me, follow me, or Facebook, my name, Julius Shanks. And check out all the amazing things that I'm doing here at the Star in Birmingham, Alabama, and as well as New Home, Montgomery, Alabama. I have 2 churches, you know, and 2 families that I split my time and my heart with to be able to pour into those places. And then as well, the Alabama School of Fine Arts. Check it out. It's a boarding school, you know. Taylor, my homie, she's from Tuscaloosa, living in the dorms. Like, this is a place where, shout out to the school, you want to send your child to get this training, to get this education. And so, yes, those are the places, those are support. And I thank you so much for this opportunity. I've truly been blown away. And I needed this. This is right on time, especially, like I said, with the stress of applying for colleges and figuring out where I want to go next. It's great to know that my voice isn't being lost through everything. And that, you know, it's still, whenever you get weary and well-doing, things are still working out. You know? So I appreciate it.
Well, that's what happens. You know, you planted the seeds, right? You planted the seeds and you watered and nurtured certain things. And now you're starting to see, you know, some harvest. And anything that we can do to support AOC Artist Check-In, our Black Theater Group, NBAF, our partners and our sponsors, our gracious sponsors for this series for Black History Month. I'm sure that's why we want to highlight it. I think it's important for us to look back and shine the light on some of the things y'all are doing, because you're not waiting for the future. And I want to celebrate you now. I want to give you your flowers now, friend, because you're doing some amazing things. We want to continue to encourage you to do that. So thank you for doing what you're doing. I can't wait to see what y'all got cooking for this year's monologue competition. If you're going to make any appearances. I know you already dropped an exclusive before, but are you making any appearances this year before you?
I can't say. I'm at disclosure, but I do know if you haven't signed up for Atlanta regionals, check out your region of where you are. Try and still sign up for the deadline in. I believe it's close. If not, it already hasn't. But look out for things that are coming up. You want to be connected to not only True Colors Theater, but the August Wilson Monologue Competition.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you so much, Julius, man. We appreciate you stopping in to join us tonight, you and Taylor both. And look, let us know. You got my information. Message us if anything pops up that you need support on, or that you just want to talk about, pray about, have someone stand in agreement with you. We're here. So please, and continue to do what you're doing. It's so inspiring, not just to us, but like you said, those there in your community that are watching you.
Thank you so much. Yes, we'll do. And if y'all ever need anything, y'all ever need someone to sit backstage and just watch, I'm always ready and willing. So please, you don't hesitate to let me know as well what I can do for the community over there as well.
Man, I'll hold you up. I'll send you a schedule.
Yes.
All right. Take care, man. Have a good one. Thank you for stopping by tonight.
Thank you.
All right. Wow, man. So that's a wrap for our second week of our virtual conversations for our AOC Artist Check-In. And Julius Shanks and Taylor Jackson, they're both so inspiring. But I would be remiss if I did not bring up our third place winner for the August was a Monologue competition Atlanta Regional Finals 2020, Miss Casey Champion. She could not join us this week, but y'all better be on the lookout because we're going to pull her in to one of our future conversations so y'all can meet her. And you heard what Julia said as a wrap up. Make sure that y'all check out Kenny Leon's True Colors Theater Company. Thank you again to Miss Nikki Toombs, Director of Education, Mr. Jamil Jude, the Artistic Director, and Mr. Kenny Leon himself for our intro video for this week's AOC Artist Check-In. This has been another version and virtual conversation. So until next week, BTG out.
Hi, my name is Tara Watkins, and on behalf of the Black Theater Group, we would like to thank you all for tuning in tonight. Art is an integral part of African American culture, and by helping support Black artists, you're helping support Black art and culture. So thank you. And a special thanks to NBAF for sponsoring our virtual conversation. And a special shout out to our guests, past, present, and future. Tune in next week for our conversation, Our Time for Advocacy, where we interview leading members of Black leaders advocating for cultural theater. You won't want to miss it. The world as we know it is currently unjust, and it can be hard to deal with and navigate. But by coming together and sharing our stories and listening to one another, we can rise above. So tune in next week online at 6 p.m. BTG out.